Yo minasan and konnichiwa. Welcome back to Kanji Stories, the channel where every single day, 365 days a year, I break down Japanese kanji to help you memorize them. And today we're going over the symbol for river. Now this symbol for me is very ideographic. You can easily see what the symbol is simply by looking at it. But before we get into that, we need to talk about how to read this symbol in Japanese context. Okay, so we of course have the on reading, then we have the kun reading, of which luckily there's only one of each. However, I find the kun reading, following the Pareto's principle, is read much more often than we have the on reading, all right? So in this case, we have kawa for river. And then we have on reading here is sen. Sen happens when we put other on readings together, and kawa is usually how it's read by itself or with other native Japanese words. So we have the etymology here, which is pretty straightforward. We have it looks like a river, at least to me. We have three flows of water all streaming down, and those three movements of water there are a river. So we have the three I see rapids. If rocks were to stop at the beginning of each of those three downward strokes, we would of course have ripples in the water or waves coming off of those rocks, which to me would look like a river. In fact, when I lived in Japan for a little while in Nagano Prefecture, I lived by a river, the Tenryūgawa, which had a symbol for it there, and that's how I ended up memorizing this symbol, is that symbol for the river was right by the river where I'd walk across every single day. So the common words and jukugo for this one are pretty straightforward. So we have kawakami. Kawakami is a fairly common name in Japan. And so we have kawakami. Now some people do have their name meaning kawagami, but that simply depends on what part of Japan you're from. It does mean upriver. So we have the symbol for a river, and then we have the symbol for above. The next one we have here is ama for heaven, no gawa. Ama no gawa. Now, there is another reading, another way to write Ama no gawa, but this is one of two ways to write it. This way, meaning heaven's river, is the Milky Way up in the sky. So you have all those stars they see as a river back in the olden times. And lastly, we have kogawa. Kogawa, of course, as you would see from the symbols there, we have the symbol for small and the symbol for river, hence small river. Very straightforward, I think, and it's fairly easy to memorize this one. Now, you may be looking at this and thinking, why are some kawa and why are some gawa? What happens is, when you put two on readings together, you stick usually with the readings as they are. However, when you put two kun readings together, most often, if there is possible to add a ten or the dakuten, the two little dots above on the hiragana, you usually add that if possible. And you'll see this all across the board with kanji. So if there's a possibility to add like kawagami or kogawa or whatever you have, make sure that you add the ten if you can, and you can check it that way. But I, of course, do recommend always looking up the word that you're trying to speak or say. With that, though, I will sign off. Thank you so much for joining me today here on Kanji Stories. I will see you again tomorrow, where we'll break down another Japanese kanji and help you learn Japanese just that much more. And I will see you then. Until then, remember, after 10,000 mistakes, you become fluent. Desu ka, reishou ni? Let's make mistakes. Ja ne.